What's up? Welcome back to the Questing Hour podcast. Yeah.
We love quests here.
We do. We quest. We have fun. We have fun here.
One day we'll green screen us in a tavern and that will become our permanent
Oh
questing
my
hour
gosh.
location.
I need it so bad.
The dream!
One day we'll have an unlimited budget. We'll have an intro.
We'll have a
original
studio
music.
where we meet and record.
And it looks like an
Oh
old-timey
my gosh.
castle. We have stained glass freaking windows. It's gonna be beautiful. Stay
I
tuned.
cannot wait.
I'm gonna wrap this up when we're done. It's gonna be
Yeah.
gorgeous.
I can't wait, guys.
Yeah,
Can't wait
it's
for
gonna
the
be really
setup.
good. Well, happy Monday. Welcome back to the Questing Hour. This is episode 9. If you guys are
Episode
sticking
9.
in, doing your quests, I'm so proud of you.
Seriously.
Killing it. Over a month, right? It's about it's
Over
a month.
But we started. This will be a month. This will be a month.
April 9th is the first
By the time
one,
this
yeah.
episode comes out, it will be over a month.
month of
my
questing.
God.
A month of questing hours. Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we've learned so much
Oh,
over
absolutely.
the course of this.
Right
And I
before
hope
we
you
were
guys have
recording,
too.
I was like, "What episode is this? 7 and 8?" And Maggie was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "No, it's 9 and 10."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So cool. It's so cool.
Crazy.
Well, this week we are going on to the next part of the hero's journey circle. We are leaving the departure bit and going into what is called initiation. We've crossed the threshold. We're in the world. And what do we run into now? Tests, enemies, and allies.
Yes, we're heading into initiation. We're kind of already initiated a little bit because we've already crossed the threshold. We've talked about courage and what it takes to be the hero and how we get through that threshold. And we're moving on to tests, allies, and enemies. This is where the magical world really puts you to the test. It throws those obstacles in your way. It gives you all those hardships. What is it that people say where it's like God gives his hardest battles to his strongest
soldiers?
You know it.
I know, I did say your text.
That's what it reminded me of. Like, wait.
Or your text said, God gives his toughest side quest to his silliest soldiers.
Yes. That's what Maggie texted me right before. Because y'all, I really feel like I let you down with my ukulele chords because a week is not long enough for my brain. Maggie was like, "Hey, can you send me a recording so I can put it in the podcast, like to update people on the quest?" And I was like, "Maggie, I'm not even gonna lie, I sat in front of the camera and forgot the chords." I was like, I literally, if I'm not like watching somebody else do it, it is so hard to do.
It's tough. It's really tough.
So I'm definitely giving myself a little bit more time with that, but I swear it'll be in the podcast either in the next coming weeks or maybe when this video comes out. We'll see. No promises, but I'm doing my quest, y'all.
You know what? You're trying. That's all.
I want to do it to the fullest, and I do want to try. I am trying. It's just freaking. I just don't have like coordination. It's not like Guitar Hero.
it's there's definitely a learning curve, and it's like a new muscle that you've never learned before, both in your fingers and in your brain. Just remembering all the things that go into it.
It's just like I think the hardest thing for me is like the switching, like moving my hand up and down is not hard, but switching like my fingers to one, like just like front to back, to back, and up and down at the same time. It's like trying to friggin' rub my stomach and pat my head at the same time. I literally can't. But that's the toughest thing. I can play a singular note.
Let's go. You find a song that has one chord the whole time
and just play that one chord and I'm good. Also, I feel like I should invest in a pick because my fingers are hurting from like plucking it.
It gets rough, yeah.
I don't know if that's because I have like dry hands or what, but
when I used to play like all the time, the tips of my fingers would be just like rock hard from holding the things. Because guitars have like metal strings too.
Yeah,
you're just digging into your hand with metal
and just like scraping your flesh.
I had to give it up because I want pretty lady hands.
Insert pretty lady hands.
I'm gonna Photoshop nails on this. And big hoop earrings.
But yeah, so I'm still working on that because I am God's silliest soldier.
So true. It's so true. You are.
Yes, his toughest. My lord gives his toughest quest to his silliest knights.
It's real. It's real. Well, that is one example of a test that you might be going through in your life. Just a side quest or something going on that you just really don't think that you're going to be able to get over that hill.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in this part of every hero's journey. They encounter something, they have their first fight with Voldemort, with the Sorcerer's Stone, and they're like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I kind of have to reset and figure out what kind of hero I'm going to be.
Mhm.
This is,
It's
yeah.
like it's like what they say, like when it rains, it pours. So
Hmm.
like when you feel like you're going through a really tough time and then like more crap keeps
Oh,
happening to
yeah.
you and the world is literally just shitting on you and you're like, why
Yeah.
is this happening all at once? Like, why are all these bad things just like one on top of each other? Like that's literally what happened to me recently where I'm like,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
do these things keep happening right
Hmm.
after each other? Like instead of just being like bad thing, take a break, bad thing, it's like bad thing on top of bad thing on top of bad thing.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where the test allies and enemies is because it's that's where those series of obstacles come at you and you need to learn to navigate them and push through them basically.
Absolutely. Hmm.
So but hey, the hero always comes out in the end.
That's true.
But we'll get there later. We're not
Yeah, yeah,
quite at the return yet. We're still in the
yeah.
initiation.
Yeah, right
But
now we're in the trenches. So sorry.
sorry guys.
Sorry
We're
about that.
stuck.
We are in
We're
the
stuck for a
trenches.
minute.
Just a little bit, just a little minute.
So today
Mhm.
Maggie and I will be talking about some of those conflicts and ordeals that you might face as, you know, the hero in your story or the main character of your movie, however you see fit to claim yourself. And it might get deep. So this is your fair warning. Today will be a deep episode and
Yeah,
Thursday this week will be a more laid back, silly, chill episode.
yeah.
So if you want to tune out of the deep, now is your chance. And if you
Now,
want to stay, now.
welcome to the deep.
Come
Get a
on.
little tea, light a candle, prepare to
Yeah,
be in your
light a
feels a
candle,
little
get
bit.
cozy,
Yeah.
get a journal while we talk.
That's a good idea. I have my journal.
I have mine.
Oh my gosh, look at us! So
Always.
good.
I'm literally like I'm playing with the pencil, so I'm sorry if it's
Right? Yeah,
distracting
I
y'all.
feel like I need like
I'm
something
like
to hold in my hand and I'm like casting spells over
whipping it
here.
around like yeah, like whipping it around like a baton.
Yeah.
Enemies.
Enemies! Let's talk about
So
our enemies
let's
and
talk
name
about
them
our
by name.
enemies. Everyone list them down.
Number
Write
one.
them. So one of the things I was saying last week that gave us the idea for this
Mhm.
topic was I was saying that I am my own biggest enemy. Like I am my worst enemy
Mhm.
because most of the time it's like myself holding myself back. You know, something within
Mhm.
me is holding me back from being my true self or stopping me from accomplishing the things that I can accomplish.
Yeah.
And most of the time, for me at least, it's 99.9% of the cases of my struggles, you know, mentally, maybe not physically, because a lot of them revolve around money, but
Mhm.
but internally, I am
Mhm.
my own biggest enemy.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to think about the things that are holding you back. Those are your enemies, and those are
Yeah.
your tests at the same time.
Mhm.
So, who is your biggest enemy, Maggie?
That is a great question. I was thinking about a lot, and we were kind of going to talk a little bit about Hamlet because it
Yes.
is a Shakespearean story set in medieval times. And I was thinking about the characters in that, and a lot of them, there's obviously like a bad guy. Claudius is the bad guy that Hamlet is trying to stop. But there's a lot of characters that could go one way or the other. Like Ophelia is Hamlet's love interest, but
Yes.
he uses her as an enemy within the story to get what he wants. And he sees her as like an opposing force within the
Mm-hmm.
story. And the ghost of his father, he is an ally to him, but it's what the ghost tells him that ultimately leads to him destroying his life and being killed in the end.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people within my life that I have noticed very recently that
Mm-hmm.
they are allies. Like I love them, but they're in the way of what I'm trying to do with my
Yeah.
life. And that's a hard conversation that you have to have with yourself. Like, is this person an ally or are they an enemy? Or are they somewhere in the middle? And like, should
Mm-hmm.
I have a conversation with myself and figure out where they need to be placed in my life?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think it's important too to recognize that, people can be allies, but also still be opposing forces at the same
Yeah,
time. They might
absolutely.
not be enemies, but they say that it's best to surround yourself with like-minded people because you become those that you surround yourself with.
Hmm.
If I didn't have a friend as, bubbly and funny and open as Maggie, then
Hmm.
I wouldn't also be those things. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to
Hmm.
expand who I am. I was talking about this with my other friend, shout out Redacted, in case she doesn't want to be name
We love
dropped.
redacted.
We love Redacted over here. But I was talking to her the other day because we were talking about how, like, if you surround yourself with, friends that, all they do is, you know, nothing bad to people who do these things, but if they don't have ambitions and they're living in their parents' houses and all they do is like
Hmm.
smoke or do drugs, and it's like, those might be things that you like to do, but your life is not going to progress and you're
Yeah,
wondering why you're not going anywhere. And it's like, well, this is what you surround yourself with. Your
exactly.
environment and the people you put in your life are equally as important
Hmm.
that as what you do with your own behaviors. So even
Hmm.
though people can be allies and good things in your life, it's important to remember that they can still be opposing forces as well as good forces.
Exactly. There was an author, and I can't remember who it was. I'll try to find it later. But they had like a little like lecture, and they said the three most important things to a story is who is your character, what do they want, and then how are you going to stop them from getting what they want? That's the three things that you need to make a story. And
Wow, I got chills. That was kind
yeah,
of
right?
dramatic.
And the people in your life that are stopping you from getting what you want, they might not always be the big bad guy. They could be, like your boss
Yeah.
or your toxic significant other or your friends that are always super negative and putting you down for no reason or
Mm-hmm.
your own mind that's filled with anxiety and telling you that you can't do the things that you're made to do.
Yeah,
So you have to think
exactly.
about like when I'm on this journey of becoming who I want to be, finishing this main quest that I put myself on, what are the things in my life that are standing in my way? And those are what we're calling enemies today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a perfect explanation for it. That was incredibly good.
Thank you. Why, thank you. I'm a professional
Well, thank
podcaster.
you.
I podcast
Just do a little podcast.
on the side, whatever, no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess yeah, I want to focus, at least personally, because I struggle with this. So this is probably gonna be most of my examples is the internal conflicts that,
Hmm.
me making myself the enemy and the darker parts of myself that, you know, critique and comment on my every being and every waking moment.
Yeah.
And how important it is to shift and frame your mindset to combat those things.
Hmm.
And that's why Maggie and I in earlier episodes talked about, shifting your mindset,
Yeah.
making sure you know what you want, and figuring out what your quest is, because keeping those things in mind is going to make it so much easier to actually combat when you do have these enemies creeping up on you.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it goes deeper than that. Sometimes people like myself need medication to help me combat that, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
Hashtag medicated.
Let's
Um,
go.
ooh.
But in those situations, like the therapist that you speak to, the doctors that give you the medication itself, those become your allies on your journey. Like
Exactly.
that's just a part of getting to where you need to be.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So
I have a
thank
great example of
yes.
changing my mindset. The other day, oh
Yes.
my God, it was so great. I was going to church and I usually go with my friend and I text them, I'm like, are you going to church today? Please, I don't want to be alone, please. Because talking to strangers, I'm very extroverted, but being in a situation where everyone knows each other and I don't know any of them
Yeah.
is
You
my nightmare.
immediately outsider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
No
they're all
matter
friends,
how
and I don't
extroverted,
know
you're like,
any of them.
I am
Yeah,
the black sheep
and I
in this
literally,
situation.
yeah, and I wrote it down in my notes because I was like on the way there, and he texted me, and he was like, "I'm not going, I'm sick," and I was like, "Oh,
No.
I'm gonna strangle you." I was like, okay, fine, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I want to go, and so I wrote in my notes. I was like, "Be excited about the things that scare you." And I was
Yeah.
like, I just thought about that the whole time. I was walking in the door, shaking hands with strangers. I was like, I'm going to be excited about this because it scares me. And it's a new thing that I really want to do. And then I was like, fine, obviously. And I had a really good time. And I met a lot of great people.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, am I changing my nightly mindset right now?
Changing that nightly
Am
mindset.
I a knight and a quester?
Am I super powerful?
I think I am.
There was this thing that I used to do, my friends and I used to do in the like the dead winter when we were kids, like walking home from school. We would literally be like like recognizing how powerful our mind is and like
Yeah.
repeat to ourselves like mind over matter, and we'd be like,
Yeah.
I am not cold right now. I am
I
not
am not
cold
cold.
right now.
I've been
And
there.
we're so focused on thinking that we're not cold that we
Mhm.
kind of forgot we were cold. So
Yeah.
it ends up like working placebo or not, y'all. Like if
It
it works,
works.
it works.
Yeah, listen, if the placebo effect is working, then I feel like it doesn't matter if it's a placebo or not. Because
Exactly. That's what
the
I was
intended
saying.
result has
It has
happened.
been reached. So like
Yeah. So who
it
cares if
doesn't
it's
matter if it was
real or
placebo.
not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
But right
another
now
example. Yeah.
we've crossed the threshold, so nothing is real over here.
Nothing is real. It's
Nothing
another
is
great example
real.
of fake it till you make it. I feel like we
Exactly.
say that all the time.
We say it so much,
It's our
but
motto.
it kind of works. Like it
Hmm.
definitely is. It is
Yeah.
our motto.
Hmm.
I I like uh, I've been shifting my mindset, like going back to fake it till you make it,
Hmm.
like putting myself in this idea of like me being a confident person and kind of making myself be more outgoing because I'm so like I like you in that situation at church. Like I feel like I can be extroverted, but I get so in my thoughts about it that
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, maybe not. Like don't be too much. Don't talk to
Hmm.
people. Like I get so in my head about it. But today I was at work and I knew I wanted to bring this up in the podcast. I was like at work, I was the only person at the front of the store.
Hmm.
So I had like people coming to me at the register to ask questions, to check out,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
doing everything, and I had literally no one there. Um, and I was like, okay, the phone's ringing. I have a customer. Like this is going on. I was kind of going crazy, and I was like, all right, today I'm gonna answer the phone because I always get so scared because I don't know how to work the phone very well, but I also
Yeah.
don't know everything about this store yet. But I knew I wanted to talk about it on the podcast, and I told myself, like, as I was ringing up a customer, I was like, okay, the next time the phone rings, I will answer it. Like, no matter how bad it scares me, I'm gonna make myself answer it because if I don't answer it, like, I'm never gonna answer it.
Hmm.
Like if I don't take that first step to answer it the first time, I'm gonna always be scared of it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
in a way, that's making the fear control me. The fear is my enemy in that case.
Hmm.
And instead of making it my enemy, I used it as my ally
Yeah. Oh, I love
and
that.
shift
Yeah.
my,
Hmm.
my viewpoint on how fear has its control on me to
Hmm.
me having my control over my fear. And I answered the phone 3 times today.
3 times. It's a three-peat.
Three. I've never heard that.
That's you never heard three-peat?
A three?
It's like one, and then you repeat, and then you three-peat. You never heard that?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all let us know if you've ever heard a three-peat,
Three-peat.
please. Am I crazy or is Maggie?
I don't know. I've heard people say it, I
You've heard
swear.
people say three-peat?
Yeah, in terms of like high school sports.
Let us know, y'all. Well, also, I've been doing Duolingo. Shout out to Duolingo because I am
Mhm.
on my 162nd day streak.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I almost said that's more than a year. Not more than a year. Not more than a
Halfway.
year. Yeah,
About
it's
halfway
still really
there.
cool. Yeah.
But I have been learning Spanish and like, doing
Mhm.
Duolingo and like trying to get myself more immersed in learning Spanish and
Yeah.
whatnot. So today, because we have quite a few Spanish speaker
Mhm.
customers that only speak Spanish,
Oh yeah.
and it's very hard to communicate. And I always feel bad because I'm like, I feel like I should at least know some basic things to help the checkout process go easier and like
Mhm.
customer service be easier. I always try my best, but today I spoke to it's a three-peat
3P.
of customers
Oh my
in
gosh.
Spanish.
That is so cool.
I know, and
That
I
is
try my best
incredible.
because I'm like I'm always so scared because I'm always so critical of the way that I speak Spanish, but also like how little I know to actually use it. But I was
Mhm.
like, girl, just do it. I'm like these customers are like asking questions and they need help,
Yeah.
and so like I was communicating a little bit. I tried my best, and I did
That is so
it.
exciting. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So that was so fun.
That
I
is so
turned my
great.
enemies into my allies.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
So that's why mindset is so freaking
Exactly.
important,
Mhm.
y'all. Like one of my favorite things to like kind of force myself to do is I always say when I go to places like for example Disney World or theme parks, like
Mhm.
some people are like, "No, that's so scary. I don't want to go on that ride." And I'm like, "Y'all, I spend so much money to be here. Like even if I'm shitting my pants, like
Yeah. I'm
I
gonna
will do
ride
this
everything.
ride. I'm going to
Yeah.
ride everything
Mhm.
because I even if I'm scared, shut up Tower Terror. I hate that ride. Every time I'm in line, I'm literally like
I'm like, I
peeing my
think I'm gonna throw
pants.
up. Yeah.
I'm like gonna vomit. And
Mhm.
all the way till we get to like the top, I'm still feeling like I'm gonna vomit. But
Yeah.
after I get off the ride the first time, I'm like, let's go
Let's do it
again.
again. Let's do it again.
I've
Yeah.
ridden that ride like 3 times, like
It's
on
so
three
fun.
separate
Mhm.
vacations. And every time I go on it, I'm still so scared. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, I'm like, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it
Right.
again. Like, no matter how scared I am, I'm going to
Mhm.
force myself to do it because I know that either I'm going to enjoy it at the end or I'm not.
Mhm.
But I'm going to regret not knowing I if I enjoy it or not because I let my fear take me over.
Exactly. Like high risk, high reward. Like
Exactly.
the more scared you are, it means that the better it's gonna be,
The
right?
better it's going to be at the
Yeah.
at the end, at
Mhm.
the end. The reward is higher, the higher the risk.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so shifting
Mhm.
your perspective and your mindset is so important. So like even like anything bad, right? So like say let's say, you think you're so lazy, right?
Mhm.
Maggie is so lazy. She takes hour-long naps even though she woke up late today.
I did.
That's what Maggie's
Okay.
brain is telling her.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Insert Maggie's brain right over my face because that's what Maggie's brain is saying to her. Okay? And now insert fist punching Maggie's brain.
Oh,
Why? Because here I am to tell you that Maggie's not lazy. Maggie
yeah,
just needed some rest because she's been working so very hard
I
and
have.
she deserves that bit of rest. And then she can wake up and make a plan to combat the rest of the day.
Oh
She
my
is not
gosh.
lazy. She just needed rest.
I feel so much better. That's such a good example.
Y'all, Maggie's being so for real right now. This isn't
I
for the
love naps. I love naps.
Maggie loves to sleep,
I
y'all.
do. I sleep so good. It's in my genes. Everyone in my family sleeps so hard.
The amount of times like Maggie and I would have plans sometimes, and she'd text me back like 2 hours later and be like,
I was
"I just woke up.
asleep.
I was asleep."
Or we'd like go get breakfast super early in the morning, and I would be like, "What are you gonna do after this?" I'm like, "Go back to sleep."
Yeah, we used to watch the sunrise like we previously talked about
Hmm.
before. Like we would wake up at like 5 a.m. sometimes to go
Yeah,
see that sunrise, grab our coffee,
and
eat a
I
whole
was
breakfast,
up. Yeah,
and she was wide awake, eating food, drinking coffee, and then right afterwards she'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going back to sleep."
back to sleep for like 6 hours. I love a good nap. I love a
Maggie
nap.
loves to sleep,
It's
y'all.
bad, and
But
I'll like sit up like a mummy, and I'll like, where am I? What year is it? Because I'll be so deep into sleep.
so
Sometimes it's
lost
like
in
a
the
20-minute
sauce.
nap, and it's like the
She
whole world has changed.
the way her body just like absorbs the sleep, it just like
So good.
becomes her.
Yeah. I'm addicted to it. Feels so good to sleep forever.
See, but it feels good. Maggie's
Exactly.
not lazy. She's rejuvenating her body.
I just love to sleep.
She just loves it.
And thank
But
you for that. I'm gonna change my mindset.
change your mindset.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like so many people, especially in like today's society where it's very
Mhm.
much like go, 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 busy, 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 gotta do this, gotta do this. And when we're
Mhm.
not doing those things, we feel like shit because we feel like we're not doing enough.
Exactly.
You
Mhm.
know, and especially like I mean even though Maggie and I are putting so much time and work into this podcast, like even my mindset a little bit is like, well, I'm still not doing enough like in my regular life and in my
Yeah.
productive life,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though we put so much time and work into this,
And
it
we have
almost
full-time jobs.
we have full-time
And we have
jobs,
to,
we have other
cook,
projects
clean.
and things
Yeah.
and taking care of our households and
Mhm.
like, we both have multiple pets. And so it's
Yeah.
like we have so many things to try to
Mhm.
combat and like balance and, topple on top of each other.
Yeah.
And
And we still feel like we should be
and it
doing more,
still feels like we
which
should be
is
doing more.
crazy. Yeah.
Right? We are
Mhm.
doing enough. Like I was texting Maggie earlier. I was like, I feel so bad because I, am struggling with those chords that I
Yeah.
can't even complete my own quest. But like I gave it to myself,
Mhm.
that is for my challenge to complete. You
Yeah.
know, despite giving y'all challenges, like, you know, that's something for me to complete and discover and learn for myself, not for me to race against you guys on the podcast. You know what I mean? All of our
Right?
quests are for ourselves. But even
Yeah.
like my mindset is that, I'm still in this race and I need
Right?
to work on shifting that more.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Yeah. The things that we tell you guys or invite you guys to do on this podcast, there's like not a timeline. Like you
Yeah,
don't have to
no.
be like, "Oh, I haven't done it, so I can't listen to this episode yet because I
Yeah,
haven't
no.
finished last week's." We do not finish them in time a
No, we do
lot of
not.
the times. I finished cleaning my room and then I was like, I'm gonna take everything out of my closet and reorganize it. So my room is unclean again, but I'm working on it. Ari's still doing her side quest to learn the ukulele. Like they're all on different timelines. They work different for
Yeah.
everybody. We're not asking you to add tons more things into your schedule because we know everybody has different schedules. All we're
Yeah.
asking you to do is exist. Just be.
Exist.
Yeah.
Be more intentional when you can and have the
Hmm.
energy to. That's all.
Yeah.
You know, I I don't want this to be another thing to add onto you guys' plate. Maggie and I do this for fun because we
Yeah.
enjoy it. We like being creative. We want
Hmm.
to create a community and, make this into something in our lives. But you guys don't have to like force yourselves to finish the quest before next week or whatever. Finish it in your own time. We just, want to be a part of it. We want to know if you do your quests and if you do finish them and if
Hmm.
you share them with us on social media.
Yeah.
But it's you are the most important thing. That
Exactly.
is what needs to be
Hmm.
said.
Yeah. I
you
said this
know?
before, but like I'm very much like not a person that will push myself to the limits and like beat myself up if I don't finish things. Like I don't want to make people feel bad for doing
Yeah,
the best that they can because
exactly.
that's all you can do is just do
Yeah.
what you can. And if
Yeah.
all you do one day is just make it to the next day, like you've succeeded in my mind. Great job. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. Like if all you can do is friggin' get out of bed, drink a glass of water, and eat a snack and go back to sleep,
Right?
at least
That's
you got up to get a snack and
done.
a glass of water.
Day is
Good.
done. Yep.
Like if that's all you can do,
Yeah.
then I'm proud of you for doing
Hmm.
that.
Exactly. Hmm.
There's always tomorrow. And I feel like some people would be like, but there's not always tomorrow. But,
Okay,
if
and
you
then what?
okay, and
And then it don't matter anyway.
then it doesn't matter anyway. So
Yeah.
like, there is always tomorrow to some extent, and
Hmm.
whether or not, tomorrow is guaranteed or not, that doesn't matter. You made it through the day as best as you could.
Yeah.
And then that's all that matters. As long
Hmm.
as you feel satisfied with yourself, everyone else's opinions of you literally doesn't matter.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's like something I'm coming to terms with, in my own as I'm trying to yeah, my own self-love journey and my self-care journey, like other people's opinions and voices of you do not matter because they're gonna think
Hmm.
and say and do whatever they want regardless.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like sometimes people can get so into this like a need to like or what desire to change themselves that it becomes an enemy instead of an ally, and they start looking
Exactly.
at all the things that they want to change about themselves and focus on that, and they're like, oh, I hate
Yeah.
this about myself, I hate this about myself, I want it to be changed by this date, I want to look different by summer or something like that. And
Yeah.
it becomes less of a motivation and more of like, I don't look like this now. This is not my life yet.
So I
So I'm
don't,
gonna
yeah.
hate myself until I become that person.
Yeah.
And I've been there too. I'm fixing stuff in my life right now.
Yeah.
Thinking about stuff like that. Oh, like, oh, I'm not in a relationship that I want to be in. I don't look like how I wanted to look by the summer. All these things
Mm-hmm.
that I
Especially
like,
now everyone's chasing that summer body because,
right?
spring is here and they're like,
Yeah.
okay.
And all of the motivation that I had is just turned into like self-deprecation. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not there, so I failed. Or I'm
And
currently failing because I'm not at the gym right now. I'm recording a podcast instead. Instead of
me
it being something,
literally, I was like, I want to
yeah.
go to the gym tonight, but here I am talking to Maggie.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do what I love to do, whatever.
Record the podcast.
But it becomes less of like, oh, I want to do this. I'm excited to change
Yes.
and become a new person. And it's like, I have to change or I'm never going to be happy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think that like it comes down to a lot of the time too that a lot of the motivations end up being, external. Let me change these things externally so
Hmm.
that I feel good on the inside.
Yeah.
And when you put all of your focus and everything on something external that you don't always have control over,
Hmm.
especially like if you have a job or if you have kids or if, you have a family and a house to take care of and you have this and you have that, like
Hmm.
it's not always easy to be on. First of all, there's not one perfect diet. There's not one perfect
Exactly.
workout for everyone's body.
Hmm.
But, sometimes the gym doesn't work with your schedule. And it's not easy to, I feel like, learn a gym routine if you don't know or understand how certain workouts affect your body,
Yeah.
or if you don't know a routine, like if you don't have a personal trainer or can't afford, this and
Hmm.
that. And that's why it's so important to shift your focus internally to
Hmm.
see, what can you do to feel good about yourself this way. My therapist, one of the things, because I expressed to her a lot of, the way my body image is and
Hmm.
how I think about it. And one of the things that she wanted me to start practicing was like gratitude because she was saying that, it's really important to try to, as silly as it sounds, if you have to look in the mirror and like, look at yourself and find the things that you do like about yourself or search and like look at your body for a second and be like, oh, like, I do appreciate my body because, despite maybe not looking ideal or perfect, it's gotten me this far.
Hmm.
And I am able to do these things, or like as a woman, I can grow and birth a
Freaking
whole
child.
child
Yeah.
from scratch. My friend just
Hmm.
had a baby, and I was like, that thing was inside. Like you grew that,
How?
bro.
Yeah.
That's like crazy to
Uh-huh.
me. Shout out to all mothers and birth people
Let's
because
go, birthers.
birthers. Cause like like
Yeah.
my sister when she had my nephew, I was like,
Mhm.
I still look at him sometimes and I'm like,
You
she
were in there.
made that birther.
Birth? That's a great word.
But I still look at him and I'm like, oh my god, like she did that.
Yeah.
She did that. And like,
Hmm.
you know, I I can't imagine like hating myself if my body has the capabilities of doing
Hmm.
something that amazing,
Yeah.
And that's where learning to love yourself internally comes in. Appreciate the vessel you have
Hmm.
and don't change it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Learn to be confident now and slowly start to figure out how you can work out to, you know, be healthier in your own way. Don't force yourself for the wrong reasons, I guess. because I brought up Hamlet at some point, and I know you talked about it a bit, because I was like, I feel like you were saying about his father's ghost, like telling him whatever, and he ended up fucking up everything else, and he was like, his dad's ghost was supposed to be like his ally, and it ends up being the reason that kind of everything ends up crumbling.
Yeah.
So then it comes into, who is really at fault here? Who is the real enemy? Who are there enemies at all, or is it all just a matter of perspective? Because one person's enemy could be another person's ally or hero.
Right.
And that's why, I feel like it's important to remember and recognize all kinds of perspectives, because if you're being stuck in one mindset is horrible. Being stuck in a negative mindset is horrible. Being stuck in only a positive mindset can be horrible.
Oh yeah.
So it's all about balance and shifting and being fluid with your perspective and your ideas, to keep yourself moving and growing and understanding yourself and the people around you, because everything is changing. Everyone is changing at all times from one day to the next. So do not be stuck is all I'm going to say.
I like what you said about the positive mindset and like being stuck only seeing things from the positive side. I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I mean, like everyone they mean the best for me. Everyone, nobody's doing anything mean on purpose, so I should give them all the benefit of the doubt.
Second chances, third chances, 100 chances, and then
right.
They ruin your life.
there comes a point where even if they're not trying to be vindictive or malicious, they're in the way of your personal growth. And I think you need to take time and realize, is this person doing more harm than good? And not to say cut people out of your life, but I'm a strong proprietor of, if somebody needs to go, they need to go.
Yeah. I always like joke around with I'm serious, but I joke around with my parents, and I'm like, I feel like y'all are gonna hate me when I have kids, because I'm gonna set down like clear boundaries for how I want my kids to be taken care of or treated. And if any of you cross those boundaries, I will have no problem never speaking to you again.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
No,
and like
I
think they think I'm joking, but I'm like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I think you guys are gonna hate me.
No, that's so important, especially for like you and your child. Like, you're gonna have boundaries set in place. It's important that people respect them.
Exactly. And I think that it's important to look at your relationships, but also evaluate and reevaluate your boundaries according to you and not to those other people. Don't try to evaluate your boundaries according to like, oh, because it's my family, like, no, your boundaries are your boundaries for a reason. So definitely start thinking about those boundaries. Maggie and Ari are going to give you little quests this week to
just a little one,
kind of catch up, refresh, not too hard of thought or action.
We've been talking a lot about enemies, so we decided our side quest should be focused more on the allies part of this little slice of your journey.
So for this week's little side quest, we want you to think about and write down 5 things that you're grateful for, but also we want you to write down 5 qualities about yourself that you like. If you have to look in the mirror to find something you like, do that. If you already know, great, write them down. Write 5 more. So we've been talking a lot about enemies, but we've also, since we just brought up boundaries, maybe think some more on those. If you don't know what your boundaries are, think about some clear boundaries that you would hate for anyone to cross when it comes to you and your life.
Don't be afraid to hurt people's feelings too. Something I've been working on.
That's
people's
hard.
Feelings I feel need to get hurt. Like,
that's hard. That's hard.
It is.
But that is so hard.
It is, because like, if it's best for you, like, I don't want anyone to be mad.
Yeah, exactly. That's the hardest thing. But it's also like, if it's a matter of hurting yourself or setting boundaries with others, set the boundaries with other people regardless of their reactions, because then you're just hurting yourself. And what does that do for anybody except hurt you? They don't learn anything, they don't know anything, and you're just being hurt for no reason.
And you're just unhappy. Yeah.
You're just unhappy, exactly. And you know, as one who kind of shies away from like confrontation and things like that, it doesn't need to be confrontational. You can kind of just set the boundary with yourself and just stick to it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to like announce your boundaries. You don't have to announce.
I declare boundaries.
I declare, do not cross this line. Like it doesn't need to be, you know, notified or sent to the family group chat or anything like that. Like y'all are allowed to set your own boundaries, okay? So start thinking about your boundaries, think about your mindset, write 5 things you're grateful for, write 5 qualities that you like about yourself, and just start thinking about your perspective and where you are in your mindset since we've talked about shifting your mindset.
I love that. Yeah. Think about your allies, think about your enemies, think about where you fall on that spectrum for yourself.
For yourself. Yeah. I love that.
Well, on Thursday, we're going to be sharing a little bit of our favorite medieval art pieces, trying to lighten the mood a little bit, because this was a little,
maybe
emotional.
We'll see.
I don't know, they're kind of scary. They're kind of scary.
Yeah, they're kind of questionable.
Talking about them, joking about them, and then we'll give you another little side quest. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So be sure to tag along on that adventure on a Thursday and check out all of our other adventures over on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. But also, we now have a Tumblr and a Pinterest.
Woo-woo!
So if anyone would like to go... I know. Well, I was trying to share our podcast link from the YouTube, and Tumblr was an option. And I was like, okay, I guess.
2014.
Okay, Tumblr. I see you creeping up on me.
I see you. I don't know. I feel like Tumblr might make a comeback.
I don't know. I was looking at some things. I was like, wait, why did I leave Tumblr?
Right. It's so fun. So fun on Tumblr.
Yes. Find us and share us your edits of me and Maggie.
Please. I want to be on
Tumblr so bad.
Yeah, please make us edits and fan cams.
Fan cams.
Yeah,
I'll give you some,
fan cams, some fan cam inspo.
That's when we know we made it, when we have a Tumblr fan page.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I can't wait.
Like my internal child is screaming. Like my internal teen.
Oh my gosh, are we gonna? But
yes.
Are they gonna write fanfic?
Maggie Ari?
Maggie Ari fanfic. If you guys write fanfic, write it about me and Sir Gawain, okay?
And put it on Wattpad.
Yeah, please.
Wait, please put Maggie with Sir Gawain.
Guys, I need it so bad. If you saw last Monday's episode, you know how down bad I am for him.
Maggie and Sir Gawain.
I love Sir Gawain.
Put it on Wattpad, y'all.
Yeah, put it on Wattpad. Send us the link. Thank you.
Yes, please. And thanks. Anyways, see you on Thursday. Be sure to check out our socials, Questing Our Podcast, HR, and Our Podcast. And farewell, travelers.
Farewell.